It's been a busy start to tornado season everywhere except here in Wisconsin. Why our time could be coming soon.
And police in one Wisconsin city are clarifying their stance on how they're enforcing the sale of CBD products.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning, folks, and thanks for waking up with us on your Wednesday on this June 5th. And if you woke up a little early last night because of the storms, good news, they're out of the area this morning.
Yeah, maybe that's my issue this morning. I was up.
Poor thing.
Definitely on the struggle bus this morning. But good news, the weather is quieting down early today. We're not looking at any more rain for the area, and we actually have several dry days in a row. Skies are already starting to clear out a little bit here on the west side of town. We still have plenty of cloud cover, but that clearing trend will continue right into the afternoon. Take a look at Doppler track this morning, and you'll see that the rain has pretty much come to an end for southern Wisconsin. All the heavy thunderstorm activity is well off to the south and east. Our temperatures are still pretty mild thanks to the clouds overnight. We have 64 here in Madison, 63 in Platteville. It's even 61 still in the Dells. As you get up into central Wisconsin, temperatures do drop into the 50s this morning. Here's a look at your temperatures through the day. It's going to be a warm one for us. Yesterday's high was 78. Today will be just a little bit warmer than that, hitting highs in the low 80s. Still feeling a bit humid, but by tonight, some drier air will move in and that humidity will drop. No major issues here in and around Madison. The interstate east towards Delafield and Oconomowoc has been opened as well, so that's good news. Travel times into the city still looking normal for this time of the morning.
I've had to officially click on the air conditioning because I can't handle the humidity. So
yeah, maybe keep it on today, but I think the rest of the week should be pretty nice.
Summer in Wisconsin.
All right, Hads, thanks.
You're welcome.
First this half hour, when it comes to the tornado outlook, it has been a busy year across the country already. Nearly 550 tornadoes were reported just last month alone. The main reason for that increased activity is a perfectly placed jet stream. On the southern side of that jet, storms have had free rein to produce one severe weather event after another over the past 2 months. But across Wisconsin, our weather has stayed cool and rainy without much severe weather so far. Many people have been wondering if climate change is partially to blame for this onslaught of tornadoes.
Whether or not a fractional increase in the water vapor content, a function of the background warming, actually fuels individual or even months of individual storms is something we just don't know very well yet.
That right there is Professor John Martin from UW-Madison. He says scientists are just beginning to study if there's a relationship between climate change and tornado frequency. Here in Wisconsin, only one tornado has touched down so far this year. That was an EF0 outside La Crosse in late May. Historically, Wisconsin has received the most tornadoes during the month of June.
Developing right now, a stretch of I-94 near Waukesha is back open within the last hour as police continue to investigate an hours-long standoff overnight there. Parts of Highway 67 do remain closed, though. Our CBS affiliate in Milwaukee reports the situation resulted in 2 officer-involved shootings. Officials didn't give further details on that situation, but we are expecting an update from the sheriff's office later today.
More news out of Milwaukee. A 6-year-old girl who was missing for nearly a day is safe this morning. Sierra Warren was dropped off at the Milwaukee Police Department yesterday afternoon. Police are investigating the case, but here's what we know so far. On Monday, Sierra got off her bus, but wasn't there when her sister came to pick her up. The bus driver said the girl ran over to someone and gave them a hug. Police believe she was with someone she knew, but they're not releasing any further information about who dropped her off or if any arrests have been made.
It has now been more than a month since a Wisconsin teenager was found dead in a park, and right now there are still a lot of unanswered questions. 18-year-old Brandon Viola never came home after April 29th, and days later he was found dead in a park in Cudahy. That was on May 2nd. The cause of death still has not been determined. Cudahy police are waiting for the results from the medical examiner. They say they interviewed everyone involved and no arrests have been made yet. Brandon's mom doesn't believe her son just fell down and died, and now she still wants answers.
I just wish I had some answers, that's all. It's not like it would change anything, and it's not going to bring him back, but the thought of not knowing is going to haunt me for the rest of my life.
The medical examiner's office says the results of the toxicology report should be in by July. Until then, Brandon's mom hopes someone will come forward.
Officers are still deciding whether charges will be filed after a loaded handgun was found at a security checkpoint inside the Dane County Airport. TSA detected the small .25 caliber pistol loaded with 3 rounds during an X-ray screening on Monday. They will review that incident and decide whether to issue a fine of up to $13,000. This is the second firearm found at Dane County Regional so far this year.
Police are still looking for what a fisherman believed to be a cougar spotted in a Rock County community yesterday. Officials say the cougar was seen early in the morning on the shore of the Rock River near a footbridge by Portland Avenue. Officers checked the area but couldn't find the animal. Anyone who spots an animal that looks like a cougar is encouraged to call the Beloit Police Department or report the sighting to the DNR.
Police say a Darlington man is lucky to be alive after he was pinned by a riding lawnmower Friday morning. Officials say Brian Bryce was mowing his lawn when he got trapped on an embankment and became pinned underneath the machine. Bryce called police before he lost the ability to speak. Darlington Police Chief Jason King said Bryce's cell phone saved his life. First responders were able to free Bryce and take him to the Memorial Hospital. He is now at home and recovering this morning. All right, 6:06 your time now. Ahead of the warm weather that is on the way, Ready Wisconsin is taking the opportunity to make sure people are staying safe in the heat.
Yeah, our Christina Laurie is here with what you need to know this morning, and really something all of us need to take we need to take it in because it's here.
Definitely. Today is known as Heat Awareness Day. And before the weather reaches true summer temperatures, Ready Wisconsin wants you to be aware of the dangers that brings. Last year, preliminary numbers show 5 people in Wisconsin died because of heat-related illnesses. That's something like heat exhaustion or heat stroke. Now, how do you identify the symptoms? Here they are. They include heavy sweating, weakness, cold, pale, and clammy skin, a weak pulse, and fainting or vomiting. If you or someone you're with starts experiencing any of these, you should move to a cooler location, have them sip cold water, and apply cool, wet cloths to their skin. Now, heat stroke is even more serious. Symptoms of that include a higher body temperature, throbbing headache, hot and red, dry, moist skin. We can show you these now. A rapid and strong pulse and possible unconsciousness. If this happens, call 911 and move them to a cooler location. And this may seem counterintuitive, but don't give them fluids. Ready Wisconsin says the real danger comes when you run into the store to pick up a few things and leave your kids in the car.
I mean, it is a frequent source of tragedy where individuals are like, I was just running into the store for 5 minutes. Well, in that 5 minutes on a 90-degree day, it can turn to fatal temperatures inside of a vehicle very quickly.
Other ways they recommend preventing these heat-related illnesses include staying in a cool place, wearing lightweight, light-colored clothing, and staying hydrated, just to name a few. They also say it's a good thing to check in with your neighbors and watch for excessive heat watches, warnings, and advisories this summer. Of course, we'll keep you up to date with all of those here, but heat is really not something to mess around with.
Well, and we haven't really dealt with it yet at all either, so I think that's why it's going to be a little bit of a slap in the face once it does get to be, even today in the 80s, that's going to feel really hot.
Yeah, we haven't had the traditional way of easing into summer.
Yes.
I don't know if that's traditional anymore in Wisconsin. Forget who we are.
Yeah, we do kind of forget. All right, Christina, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
All right, it is 6:08 right now, and it is time for Pride Night at Miller Park as the Brewers invite you to celebrate diversity. This all leads to Milwaukee Pride, which is happening this weekend. Before the game against the Miami Marlins tonight, you can enjoy a tailgate sponsored by the Milwaukee Gay Sports Network, which includes a tailgate fair, beer and soda, and a live DJ. The goal is to promote inclusion from the Brewers fan base all the way to Major League Baseball. Tickets for Brewers Pride Night start at just $20. First pitch is at 6:40. The Madison Mallards are having what is like their best start of the season in the team's history with yesterday's win against the Lakeshore Chinooks. Now, final score was 12-6. The team is now 8-0. Tonight, the Mallards are hosting the Green Bay Booyah at Warner Park. First pitch is at 6:05.
The Packers head coach is making his practice rounds this morning in a golf cart. Matt LaFleur had surgery on his torn Achilles heel over the weekend, and for now, he will use the golf cart along with a walking cart to get around. He hopes that he will be back to normal by training camp come June. The tear happened while he was playing basketball in a Lambeau gym. He says after a long workday, you have to get some exercise in. Plus, it's a good time for the guys.
You know, that's kind of been our routine, nighttime basketball, and especially when our family's been away, the guys that, you know, whose families haven't moved here and whatnot, we just get together and play some nighttime hoops, and unfortunately it happened.
LaFleur says he'll be staying off his feet for about 4 weeks, but hopes to be good to go by training camp. Aaron Rodgers chimed in, saying he's a pretty athletic person, and with his good diet and work ethic, he'll be back to work in no time.
Looks like he's got good spirit, so that's always a good start.
Not a bad way to get around.
There you go.
All right, 6:10 your time now. We have some trending topics you're not going to want to swipe left on. Tinder has a new feature for users that's going to allow them to be more expressive.
And find out why this house is the most coveted Airbnb in Wisconsin.
Ooh.
Just how much you have to pay to play, though.
Plus, a lot of us saw storms overnight and some lingering rain this morning. But once it all moves out, Hattie says we can expect a warm day with some sunshine. She's in next with our first alert forecast on News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning from the Hattie-O patio. No more rain this morning, but it seems to have brought out the gnats on the patio early today. So let's hope I don't eat any while I'm doing this weather forecast, but at least it's not mosquitoes, so no real complaints here. We did have some thunderstorms moving through the area last night. No severe weather, but Carol in Brooklyn took this great picture of the lightning show. We did have quite a bit of lightning and thunder and some heavy rain as well. Take a look at the 24-hour precipitation estimates. Amounts were highest south and west of Dane County, where the blue shaded and purple shaded colors are. That's over an inch of rain. Now, officially at the airport on the east side of town, there was about a ½ inch of rain with this particular system. This morning, that rain is winding down pretty quickly. It was still raining when I got into work earlier, but now pretty much all that rain has fallen apart or moved to the south and east. You can still see some showers and thunderstorms developing across Iowa, but the track of those storms likely going to be south of the state line. So our forecast is shaping up pretty nicely. There still is a cold front that is expected to move through the area today. Out ahead of that front, it's quite humid. You can feel the moisture in the atmosphere this morning, and I'm not expecting that humidity to drop until a little bit later on today. So a live view from the WISC-TV Skycam, a little bit of clearing trying to take place, but still plenty of cloud cover lingering at this hour. Temperatures, though, are still in the 60s, so it's a nice, comfortable start to the day. Dew points in the 60s as well, so that's where we get our humidity. Dew points are not expected to move much until later on this afternoon into this evening. That's when they'll really start to drop back. It'll start to feel a little bit more comfortable. Your future track forecast model, though, showing you skies turning partly sunny as we head towards the afternoon. We're going to see temperatures climbing into the mid-70s by lunchtime. Not stopping there, though. We'll climb into the low 80s across south central and southwestern Wisconsin. Now, a persistent wind off of the lake, that's an east wind in Milwaukee, is going to keep it noticeably cooler there. Highs are expected only to be in the 60s in Milwaukee and Sheboygan. Here's a look at your evening forecast, staying dry and pretty sunny through the evening. Temperatures will drop back into the upper 60s by 11 o'clock. We're falling to the 50s, though, overnight, 57 for that overnight low. Lots of sunshine in that extended forecast. Pretty much dry through the day today, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Next chance for rain holds off until Saturday night into Sunday. Now let's get a look at your traffic maps this morning. Jason Stone has the wheel early today. Good morning, Jason.
Good morning. No issues on the Beltline or interchanges as drivers are moving without delay. All routes into Madison and around Dane County are clear for motorists, and volume is increasing on East Wash as traffic is light around the Capitol Square. With your First Alert traffic, I'm Jason Stone.
Thank you very much, Jason, and thank you, Hattie. 6:17 almost your time now on this Wednesday, just in time for Pride Month. Tinder is rolling out a new feature that makes it a little easier to express who you are. The dating app will now allow users to select up to 3 terms that best describe their sexual orientation.
Users were previously limited to selecting a preference of men, women, or both, but options are now more varied with choices like pansexual and asexual. Users can opt in for sexual orientation, but will not be able to filter by sexual orientation, meaning if a user identifies as a straight man, they could match with a trans woman who is attracted to men.
More options is always a good idea, I think.
Inclusion for all. I
Right.
really love that. All right, 6:17. The most popular rental in all of Wisconsin is a house designed by Frank Lloyd Wright, and it's up for rent on Airbnb. The Still Bend property in Two Rivers is available for only $450 a night.
A cool $450. Only 5 days in June and 3 days in August are left for the entire summer. July, completely booked. The next available booking happens to be for tomorrow night. I've been joking all morning. I might have to take a sick day because that is beautiful.
I think the whole News 3 Now This Morning team, we could probably afford to rent that.
I know. If you split it, we were talking about this earlier as well. It's big enough that if you split it, that $450 price tag, not so bad.
Makes it a little easier.
For a little piece of history.
Those pictures look spectacular.
Oh, yeah.
So. All right, 6:18. So troubles continue to plague the Lion of Judah House of Rastafari, why their landlord has said enough is enough.
And a new carjacking spree has the thieves doing their work while you work out. More local news is straight ahead. But first, it's a wet and muggy start to the day as you get ready for work or take the kids to school. Ooh, a bit of a pool day, too, I do believe, if we're following the polar bears' moves.
Looks like me.
Yeah. Hattie has another check on your pool day forecast when News 3 Now This Morning returns. Welcome back. 6:21 on your Wednesday. We're taking a live look at Josh's pool right now. Oh, there he is.
Better be careful, Josh.
Is that me?
We wish that was us right now.
It's going to be a cool day, I think.
All city, here he comes.
Oh, man.
Look at his little flip.
The backflip down, everything.
Morning
So
exercises.
impressive.
Yeah. Pretty good, but not a bad day to be in the pool this morning. Polar Bear's got the right idea. It is going to be a pool day today. The rain has come to an end. Take a live look from the WISC-TV Skycam. Skies are already clearing for the area, so that is good news. You can see a little blue sky to the west here on the west side of Madison. Take a look at our radar map this morning, and you'll see that the showers have already moved out of the area. Now, there is a little bit of activity further back to the west in Iowa. It's likely going to stay south of the state line as we go through the day today. So our forecast is actually dry. We're starting on a mild note this morning. Temperatures are in the 60s, 64 in Madison and 64 in Janesville, 62 in the Dells. As you get up to Juneau and Adams County, temperatures do drop into the 50s early today. Probability of precipitation, though, goes down to pretty much 0 as we go towards the afternoon. Here's a look at your bus stop weather forecast. A nice warm day today. Temperatures will climb to highs in the low 80s this afternoon with more sunshine on the way home from school. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much, Hattie. We will. Happening right now, the owner of the building where Madison's first Rastafarian church is housed wants those tenants out. House of Judah founders Jesse Schwark and Dylan Bangert plan to fight that eviction in court. The men say their church's members use marijuana as part of their religious practice. They've been arrested twice in the past week on various drug charges. That eviction hearing is scheduled to take place in 2 weeks.
New this morning, the Fort Atkinson Police Department is clarifying a Facebook post that created some controversy online. The original post asked all retailers in the Fort Atkinson area to stop selling CBD oil or risk a fine of up to $200. Hundreds of people commented in response, noting that hemp CBD is not regulated. Fort Atkinson police updated their post overnight, saying they were trying to educate businesses on CBD derived from marijuana, which is illegal. Even with the confusion, local businesses said they plan to keep selling hemp-based CBD.
Probably had 6 or 8 people come in from Fort Atkinson who purchased CBD oil that day too. So yeah, we're just a hop, skip, and jump away from them. So we are not stuck in prohibition here in Deerfield, so we'll certainly take good care of them.
Fort Atkinson's police chief is asking Attorney General Josh Kaul to provide an opinion to CBD oil to help local district attorneys clarify the state law.
Back in Dane County, police crime analysts are tracking a new trend of cars being stolen from local gyms. In just over 3 weeks, Madison officers count at least 8 cars stolen from local health clubs. Police believe those criminals are targeting women's locker rooms, searching for bags that are left unattended and stealing the keys inside. A few of the cars have been recovered after being dumped, but some are still out there. Police do expect these thefts to continue. There is no one in custody in connection to those cases this morning. All right, 6:25, your time now. Still ahead on the program, the state Senate is taking on the controversial Born Alive bill today at the Capitol.
And soon you could be scooting your way through Madison thanks to a new transportation service that the city is considering to allow here in our area. We've got more local news ahead on News 3 Now this morning.
Right now, Wisconsin lawmakers are back to work on the budget, talking about money for roads, the UW, and your health care. We'll have a look at what's on the line.
Plus, as kids are now just a week away from summer break, how to spot the signs of heat stroke, heat exhaustion, and the easy ways to tell the difference.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning, everyone, and thanks for staying with us for the final half hour of News 3 Now this morning on this hump day. And after some rain and storms overnight, we have got just a spectacular day on the way.
Indeed, we do. I think it might be the first morning we're catching Hattie McLean out on the patio without a jacket. Is that right?
Yeah, I decided to ditch the jacket. It's pretty
Ooh.
humid outside, and we actually have some sunshine overhead. So kind of a nice start to this Wednesday morning, and the forecast is shaping up to be a warm one as well. Let's take a live look in Platteville this morning. You can see that the clouds are starting to thin, a little bit of blue sky peeking through. Those skies will continue to clear throughout the morning. Here's a look at radar map this morning. Nothing left here across southern Wisconsin. Temperatures are in the 60s though, so it is a nice mild start to the day. You're definitely not going to need a jacket today. As you head out the door, just grab the sunglasses. Temperatures are expected to climb into the low 80s this afternoon. We're going to keep a little bit of humidity through the day. I think as we head towards the late afternoon and evening hours, that's when we'll really start to see those dew points drop and it gets a little more comfortable. Here's a look at your traffic maps this morning. The First Alert traffic maps showing you that the interstate is now open. This is in the Delafield and Oconomowoc area. It was closed overnight due to an incident yesterday. There is just a closure on Highway 67 between County Road B and DR. So be aware of that situation, but there aren't any delays there. Here in Madison, we're not looking at any major delays just yet. The usual crowds starting to show up at the Beltline and Stoughton Road, getting a little busier downtown right now as well. Nothing major to slow you down, though, if you are headed out the door at this hour.
This is the kind of weather that I think watching the polar bear cam all day would be just hours-long entertainment.
Yeah, why not? I mean, it finally feels like summer.
There we go.
There we
Still in the
go.
pool? All right, good to see.
Oh, but he's taking a little bit of a break. Thank you, Hattie.
You're welcome.
All right, time right now is 6:30. We have new video just into the Channel 3000 Alert Center this morning of an hours-long standoff that shut down I-94 in Waukesha County overnight. As Hattie just mentioned, Highway 67 near Oconomowoc is still closed this morning as police investigate. Our CBS affiliate in Milwaukee reports the situation resulted in 2 officer-involved shootings after tactical officers surrounded a minivan on an overpass. A Facebook post by the Waukesha County Sheriff's Office overnight said there was no longer a threat to the community. We are expecting an update from the Sheriff's Office later today.
To the south, a ruling is expected today to decide if abortions will still be performed at a Missouri Planned Parenthood clinic. The St. Louis location is the only one in the state, and it's currently providing abortions without a license since it expired last week. If abortions are no longer allowed there, Missouri will become the first state in the country without a legal abortion clinic since Roe v. Wade back in 1973. Missouri is one of the 9 states that have recently passed restrictive abortion laws. They are all expected to be challenged in court before they take effect.
Happening today at the Wisconsin State Capitol, the Senate is set to take up a number of bills, including a controversial abortion measure here. The so-called Born Alive bill would require all healthcare providers to care for a baby that survives an abortion attempt. Any provider who doesn't try to save the baby would face up to 6 years in prison. The Assembly passed the bill last month, but Governor Evers says he plans to veto the bill because existing laws would already punish healthcare providers who didn't try to save a baby that was still alive after that procedure.
Looking ahead, the legislature's Budget Committee plans to vote on road funding tomorrow. Police officers and firefighters say Wisconsin's poor road conditions are putting public safety at risk. They're calling on lawmakers to pass a sustainable road funding plan, but didn't advocate for a specific proposal. Governor Evers has proposed an 8-cent per gallon gas tax to pay for a $608 million increase in road funding. Senate Majority Leader Scott Fitzgerald has said that tax hike would be rejected.
The UW system is asking for a $1 billion investment from the state for what it says would help build a strong homebred workforce. UW system president Ray Cross says more than half of the system's buildings are at least 40 years old, some as old as 75. He says if politicians want a strong in-state workforce, it starts with getting quality students and faculty here. Governor Evers proposed giving the UW $1.1 billion for capital projects, but Republicans rejected that entire plan and are now starting from scratch. A committee vote on the issue would come next week.
More developments from the state capitol this morning on the governor's plan to expand Medicaid. The Budget Committee voted to reject that plan, but the Joint Finance Committee voted last night to increase state funding for Medicaid and other health care programs by more than $611 million over 2 years. That's about $250 million less than what the governor had proposed.
Electric scooters are becoming a common sight in many major cities, and Madison could be next. The state Senate is looking at a proposal that would legalize them on Wisconsin roads. Now, if the bill is eventually signed into law by Governor Evers, local municipalities could set their own limitations, including whether to pass ordinances allowing e-scooter businesses like Bird Rides and Lime into the city. Some city leaders say the big upside to scooters is transportation.
What they really do solve is the first mile and last mile situation. So many people can get transit pretty close to their house, or they can get a ride close to their house via the bus or whatever it may be. But sometimes that first and last mile is the most difficult. The scooter can help make a difference and bridge that gap.
Leaders say limiting the number of scooters those companies can bring into the city is important, and safety is also a concern.
6:34 your time now. Hattie says we're already starting to feel the humidity today, and that's fitting because today happens to be Heat Awareness Day.
Yeah, Ready Wisconsin plans these days early so that you can be prepared before it becomes a problem. And Christina Laurie joins us now with how you can keep your family safe, and something that we all can remember here.
It certainly is. It may seem obvious, Josh and Leah, but the dangers can be potentially deadly. The whole goal here is to stay cool. So this summer, try and keep the space around you cool with fans or air conditioning. If you are outside, wear sunscreen, of course, to avoid sunburns. Take breaks in the shade and stay hydrated. You'll want to make sure you and your kids, too, are wearing loose, lightweight, and light-colored clothing. But most importantly, don't leave anybody, pets, babies, or friends in the car. Even at just 80 degrees outside, cars can get dangerously hot within 10 minutes.
When it's hot outside like this, you don't want a tragedy happening just because somebody wants to run around with you in the car. If you can't take a person or a pet inside with you, then it's best not to bring them at all.
The National Weather Service issues watches and warnings when the heat does arrive. Those are good to look out for, so you can be especially careful. We'll, of course, share those here if they ever come this summer. And by we, I mean Hattie.
This is something we talk a lot about when it comes to kids, to pets, to the elderly. But I personally am really bad with heat. This is something we all need to be keeping track of.
And especially it just feels so good after the winter that we've all been through. So you just have to take those extra precautions. They seem obvious, but until it's too late, you'll never know if you need to use them.
Excited for the heat, but be careful.
Yep.
Christina Laurie, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right, time right now is 6:36. So which state is really the state with the most lakes, Minnesota or Wisconsin?
Oh boy, Josh and I's friendship may be tested with this next story. We're debating the title of Land of 10,000 Lakes. Let's go, buddy.
We're going for it when News 3 Now This Morning returns. Welcome back at 6:40, and we've got a great My Morning shot for us from Kevin. Look at that.
We are just fawning over this photo, Kevin.
Look at you.
I know, Josh always does such a nice job with his puns. I had to step it up this morning.
And we recovered from our mishaps last week on trying to name baby animals.
We're not the best at that, but we are getting better. Thank you, Kevin, for giving us a little practice here.
Yes, if you've got a picture like Kevin's, we'd love to see it. Just go to the Channel 3000 Facebook page, Twitter, or Instagram. Post that picture using the hashtag MyNews3Morning so Lee and I can pick out our favorites and we can fawn over them every morning. All right, so here we go. We're going to be testing our friendship this morning. Minnesota has been known as the land of 10,000 lakes for as long as most can remember.
But Wisconsin's new tourism secretary claims that maybe that title belongs to us here at the Badger State. So sorry, Josh. She says Wisconsin has almost 5,000 more lakes than Minnesota does.
Yeah, but here we go. Minnesota has 11,842 lakes.
Wisconsin's DNR says it has 15,074 lakes.
But here's the catch. Minnesota calls it a lake if it's larger than 10 acres. Wisconsin will call it a lake if it's larger than just 2.2 acres.
Big difference there, I will say.
Big difference. If Minnesota went by that standard, they'd have over 100,000 lakes.
Ooh, okay, I know you're a Minnesota native, but you have to switch your loyalties now. You're in Wisconsin.
Well, I mean, that was a big reason why I chose Madison. I still remember driving down John Nolan Drive and seeing the lakes on both sides and the capital. I mean, Wisconsin and Minnesota have a lot of similarities.
They do.
Love it here. I mean, it's like, honestly, I feel like we're a big family. I know when it comes to like sports, sometimes it's that, you know.
Yes,
but
yes.
Minnesota does have more lakes, but Wisconsin has spectacular lakes too, so.
As a Badger alum, I have to be loyal to my state. As a Wisconsin gal, I am loyal, but I have to say Minnesota is also very beautiful.
Both of them are, but I wouldn't be living here if I didn't like it.
Exactly, look at that. We got through that story without fighting, folks. That's a big deal.
Oh my gosh, that is a big deal. Whew, I was nervous. All right, 6:42. So regardless of where your loyalties lie, today's looking more and more like a lake day. Hattie's talking about highs in the 80s today. Oh my gosh, they are just going at it today. That's going to be me later this afternoon in my pool. I can guarantee it.
I'll be over a little bit later.
All of that sunshine in the forecast Hattie has coming up right after this.
But first, it is Wednesday, June 5th. We want to say happy birthday to Riley and all the kiddos turning 3 today. Get outside, enjoy that lake or that pool, and thanks so much for celebrating with us here on News 3 Now this morning.
Welcome back at 6:45 on a Wednesday morning. Happy hump day if you're just joining us. Look at those clouds. Oh, looks spectacular outside.
It's going to be a lovely day today, Josh.
It certainly is. A perfect day to hit the pool, and those polar bears are already at it this morning, Hattie. We just saw them up on that boulder a moment ago. They're going at it.
I'll be honest, I'm a little distracted. I'm having a lot of fun watching these guys play in the pool this morning. They seem to be having a good time.
Aww.
It's pretty mild outside already this morning. It's only going to get warmer from here. Let's talk about the severe weather threat from yesterday. There was quite a few storm reports coming out of Minnesota, south of Minneapolis, near the Rochester area as well. Not a lot, though, here in southern Wisconsin. Those storms did weaken as expected as they moved into southern Wisconsin. One wind report coming out of Platteville, though, not severe wind, but wind gusts to 47 miles per hour right around Platteville. But that's about it for southern Wisconsin with the weather yesterday. There was quite a bit of rain, though, around a half an inch here in Madison. You can see lighter amounts to the north and east. Some spots not picking up any rain, but it was quite a different story in the southwestern corner of the state. Crawford and Grant counties, Iowa, Lafayette picking up over an inch of rain for most of those counties. So some pretty heavy rain there. Now this morning, I've been watching the rain just fall apart over the last couple of hours. It was raining a couple of hours ago when I got into work, but now that rain has really come to an end for southern Wisconsin. If we zoom the map out, you will see that there is a broken line of activity from central Iowa down through northern Illinois and then into northwestern Indiana. That'll be the track of any storms that do develop, so it's likely going to stay south of Wisconsin. The severe weather threat through central and southern Illinois from the St. Louis area today all the way to the Carolinas. But here in southern Wisconsin, high pressure building in is going to keep things pretty quiet. High pressure, again, moving in from the north and west. We still have a cold front that will be moving through the area today. It'll make a slow trek through the southern part of Wisconsin. As it does, ahead of that front, it's still going to feel a little humid. Behind it, though, drier Canadian air working its way into the region. That'll make it feel much more comfortable starting tonight. That area of high pressure then dominates the weather, really keeping all chances for precipitation around us for the rest of this week, right into the upcoming weekend. So things looking pretty good around here. It looks like we're going to stretch a few days in a row with dry conditions. Temperatures in the 70s to the south. Omaha's at 72 this morning, 70 in Kansas City, 72 as well in St. Louis. Mild here, but not quite as mild. We're in the mid-60s here in Madison. A lot of 60s on the map. We haven't had a warm morning like this in several months, it feels like. 64 degrees in Boscobel, 64 in Monroe, even 66 in Janesville this morning. Your dew point trend, well, it's still going to stay a little high through the day, mid-60s through most of the afternoon. By 5 or 6 o'clock, numbers do start to drop a little bit, and they'll continue to fall through the evening. Your future track forecast model showing you a clearing trend on those skies through the day today. Overnight tonight, no rain in the forecast. We'll drop back into the 50s after hitting highs in the low 80s. Take a look at that extended forecast. Dry today, tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday. I pulled the rain chances out of Saturday's forecast. Looks like Saturday night into Sunday will be our next chance for rain. Wake up, Humphrey. Wake up, it's a good day.
I know.
It's a good day, 81, some sunshine.
Humphrey, this is not napping weather.
Humphrey, it's about time.
Oh.
It's like Eeyore.
Wait, it's always napping weather.
He'll wake up when he sees that the weather is nice enough for a walk.
Napping weather by the pool today.
Sure,
there we go.
Works for you.
You just got to change the way you do it.
Exactly.
Thanks, Ads.
You're welcome.
Stay with us. The Morning Sprint is up next on News 3 Now this morning.
6:52 on this Wednesday morning. Time for the morning sprint as our team gets you up to speed with everything you need to know before you head out the door.
We start with video just into the Channel 3000 Alert Center this morning. This is out of Waukesha County, where a stretch of I-94 is back open within the last hour, while police continue to investigate an hours-long standoff last night. The situation started when tactical crews surrounded a minivan on an overpass. That standoff ended with 2 officer-involved shootings. Parts of Highway 67 are still closed this morning. We're expecting to hear more on the situation from the Sheriff's Department later today.
Virginia authorities have yet to confirm why Dwayne Craddock went on a fatal shooting rampage in Virginia Beach. Some say the gunman seemed to target supervisors who worked in his department. Craddock was an engineer with the city's Department of Public Utilities and resigned the same day of the shooting. He was shot during that incident and died shortly after police caught him.
Lawmakers in Washington are hoping Mexico and the U.S. can come to an agreement before new tariffs kick in on Monday. Republican senators worry that a trade fight between the two countries could hurt the new U.S.-Mexico trade agreement that the Trump administration would like to pass. If implemented, the tariffs would go up 5% each month until they reach 25%.
The owner of the building where Madison's First Rastafarian Church is housed wants the tenants out. House of Judah founders Jesse Schwarrick and Dylan Banger plan to fight the eviction in court. They've been arrested twice in the past week on various drug charges. The eviction hearing is scheduled to take place in 2 weeks.
Rain overnight is quickly coming to an end for southern Wisconsin. We still have some cloud cover lingering for the area. The rain now all to the south. Our temperatures today are going to climb quickly. We're starting in the 60s. We'll go through the 70s into the low 80s with a north wind through the afternoon.
Thank you, Hattie. More than 500 tornadoes have been reported across the country in just the past month alone, but our skies have remained quiet. Here in Wisconsin, only 1 tornado has touched down this year, an EF0 just south of La Crosse on May 24th. Historically, Wisconsin has received the most tornadoes during the month of June.
Last year, preliminary numbers show 5 people in Wisconsin died because of heat-related illnesses. Today is Heat Awareness Day. Ready Wisconsin wants to make sure you know the difference between heat exhaustion and heat stroke. Symptoms of exhaustion include heavy sweating, weakness, cold, pale, and clammy skin, a weak pulse, and fainting or vomiting. Heat stroke is even more serious with symptoms like a high body temperature, throbbing headache, hot, red, dry, or moist skin, a rapid and strong pulse, and possible unconsciousness. We have a full list of symptoms and what you should do if you see someone experiencing any of them up on channel3000.com.
Christina, thank you. A ruling is expected today to decide if abortions will still be performed at a Missouri Planned Parenthood clinic. The St. Louis location is the only one in the state currently providing abortions without a state license, which expired last week. If abortions aren't allowed there, Missouri will become the first state in the nation without a legal abortion clinic since Roe v. Wade decision.
The state Senate is set to take on the so-called Born Alive bill today. That bill would require all healthcare providers to care for a baby that survives an abortion attempt. Failure to do so could mean up to 6 years in prison. Governor Evers says he does plan to veto that bill.
The Budget Committee voted to reject the governor's plan to expand Medicaid, but the Joint Finance Committee voted last night to increase state funding for Medicaid and other health care programs by more than $611 million over 2 years. That's about $250 million less than what the governor proposed.
The UW system is asking for a $1 billion investment from the state for what it says would help build a strong homebred workforce. UW system president Ray Cross says more than half of the system's buildings are at least 40 years old, some as old as 75. He says if politicians want a strong in-state workforce, it starts with getting quality students and faculty here.
And looking ahead, the legislature's Budget Committee plans to vote on road funding tomorrow. Police officers and firefighters say Wisconsin's poor road conditions are putting public safety at risk. They're calling on lawmakers to pass a sustainable road funding plan, but didn't advocate for a specific proposal. Governor Tony Evers has proposed an 8-cent per gallon gas tax to pay for a $608 million increase in road funding over the next 2 years. But Senate Majority Leader Scott Fitzgerald has said that tax hike would be rejected.
6:57 now. Jason Stone has a look at your first alert traffic. Hi, Jason.
Hello. Volume increasing around the Stoughton Road interchange. Otherwise, drivers are making their way to the Beltline without delay and moving at the posted speed limit. And traffic is heaviest on John Nolan in both directions heading to North Shore Drive and light at Rimrock. With your first alert traffic, I'm Jason Stone.
Thanks, Jason.
And we are quickly clearing out here across southern Wisconsin. Take a live look from the WISC-TV Skycam. A little bit of blue sky showing there on the west side of town. We will see continued clearing through the afternoon. Temperatures are getting off to a mild start this morning in the 60s. We'll top in the low 80s later today.
You know where to find me later today. All right, Hattie, thank you. Thanks for joining us. Go make it a great Wednesday, everyone.